join me today for some envelope fun, and I'm hoping to share my process for making embellishments ahead of time and then storing them in these envelopes until I'm ready to put them in my journals. Hi everyone, welcome to Hilltop View Journals. Today I'm hoping that you're going to craft along with me as we make these 5 envelopes, which I am going to use to store all the embellishments and ephemera that I'm using for my personal journal. And once I've completed all the signatures and decorated my personal journal, I will then be using these as embellishments and ephemera in themselves, and will include them in the journal. So that's my plan, and I hope that you will join me today to make these practical envelopes with me. I've got some different types of papers in front of me, and what I'll do is I'll show you the basic shape, and then I'm going to go and make 5 of these because I've got 5 signatures to fill. And then we'll have a look at how we're going to decorate them. So I'll use this first. So this is A4 size. It's one of Rachel and Bella Crafts digital kits, which I'll leave a link to. And I am going to fold it in half, portrait. So it's useful if you've got a multi-directional pattern. And I'm doing this the most simplest way possible. So I am going to stitch the 2 edges that are loose. You can glue them, of course. And I need one of my signatures here. So what I want to do is I want to make this, and I want to make sure that it'll fit on the back of each signature with some kind of belly band. Now this is probably just about going to fit. The belly band's going to have to be loosely attached, and I don't think it'll go in there. Let's give it a go, because I've got a pocket in the back of this one. No, it won't go in the pocket, but I think I could probably fit it. If not, I can certainly clip it on, so it's not a major problem. But the aim of this is, once I've finished the signature and I've taken everything that's stored inside my little pouch, I will then store other stuff in there, sort of mementos and things that I collect along the way during my daily journaling. So as I've said, I quite like things sticking out at the top, but I think I will do it to this size, maybe just below the journal for the envelopes. I don't think I need them that long, so that's the sort of height that I'm going for. So I'm just measuring, I'm just going by eye and measuring the signature it's going to go with. If you've got an A5 size, you know, where you've got your A4 folded in half, then you could obviously make yours a lot wider than I'm making mine. So this is where I can fold it, and a bone folder is useful. And what we're going to do then is we're going to cut that piece there and leave this piece here for the flap. And you can decide on how large you want your top flap to be. I quite like that as a size, so I am going to, if I can find my scissors, here we go. Now it's quite difficult to see there, probably on camera. Might be easier if I cut it like this. So that is the basic shape. And then what you can do is you can make this into any shape you like. So I'm going to sort of gently fold it in half but not cause a crease. And I'm just going to snip part of the edge off there, like that. And then I'm just going to round this up a little bit. And you will notice there that I've kept this, if I just put that there like that, so to that point there is straight across. So if you want, you can actually cut a little bit of this away so that it makes it easier to get in, and I think I will actually do that. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it like that, and then I'm just going to snip. Let's probably try and do it this way. Let's fold it this way. I think that might be easier. I'm just going to give myself just like a little bit of an edge there. Let's see what that looks like. You want to try out different shapes. So that makes it a little bit easier to get in. And then I just need to round it a little bit in the middle there. There we go. And if I just ink it, you'll probably be able to see it a bit better. There you go. So I've just got a little bit of an edge there. So that's one shape that you can do. And then the other shape is more like an envelope shape. So I've got this contents page from a music manuscript book, and what I'm going to do is kind of fold it to a similar size to my signature. So let's go about there like that. I'm happy with that. And then we don't want it too high. So if I cut it there and about there, just going to trim off the edges. So that is the size that I want, and then I'm going to fold this down. And I don't want to fold it all the way to this edge. I want to leave just a little bit of room there. Like that. And then what you can do again is do exactly the same as I did on that one, is gently fold it over and do whatever shape that you want. So on this one I'm going to do a sort of triangular, and I'm leaving that bit straight, because what it means then is you can't see the gap there and there. If I went all the way to there, then you'd have this sort of odd looking gap there. So we don't want that. So that is the basic shape then for the second type of envelope. And that will then, well, it won't actually fit in a belly band, but I can clip it in the back, or I can clip it over the top there. So depending on the size of the paper you've got, just fold it to fit the signatures that they're going to go in. And I'm going to go ahead now and make my other 3 bases, and then we can start decorating. So I've got my 5 bases. 4 of them I've inked around all the edges. So I've got 2 sort of standard shaped envelopes, and then I've got 2 of the money envelope sort of styles. This one I just did a slit straight down, and didn't do anything to these 2. You could put a little notch there if you wanted to, but based on my last video, I'm not very good with my notches. And at this stage, before I decorate, I'm not going to seal them up, but you could very much seal them up if you wanted to. And if you weren't that bothered about closing them and you're just going to clip them into place and you didn't need closures, then you could seal them up job done, and then decorate whenever you wanted to. This one I haven't done anything to. This is baking paper or parchment paper, because it needs a little bit of strengthening. Couldn't think of the word then, particularly this flappy bit. So I was going to use this piece from one of the offcuts, and I just want to measure it so that I can get it kind of equal going all the way around. And so that will go on there like that. And I'll probably stitch around it before I glue. But what I also want to do, so I've got that piece, but I also want to put another piece on the inside, and I'll probably use a bit of brown paper for that. So I'll go and grab some brown paper now. So I've got a piece of scrap paper here, and I'm just going to glue it into place. And I'm not going to go all the way down to the crease. Just chop this up. So that makes it a little bit sturdier. I'll be stitching around it, so I'm not worried about the edges. And I can now pop that on like that. And what I'll probably do is I'll round the corners, I think. So let's round that corner. And I don't think I'll stitch around it. I'm going to leave it because I'll be stitching around the edge anyway. So let's not make a fuss of things. And before I forget, I am going to cut this at an angle as well. To make it easier to pop in and out. Okay, so that's a little bit more sturdy, and I'm just going to do some inking around the edges, and then this space will also be ready for decorating. On the tall envelopes, the money style pocket envelopes, it's a good idea to strengthen this crease here because you will get wear and tear, and you can use fabric, you can use washi tape, you can use strips of paper, anything you like. I am going to use surgical tape, which is quite handy because it blends into the background. So I'm going to pop some surgical tape on here. And I think what I'll do is I'll start there. You can put it on both sides. I'm not sure if I want it on both sides. We'll have a look to see how much it sort of blends in. So that blends in really well. So it's almost hidden, certainly on the inside anyway. So that gives the crease a bit of a fighting chance when it comes to wear and tear. So I think it's pretty well covered, so I think I might actually put some on top as well. And then I know it's going to last. a bit better. And on the parchment paper, what I've done here is I've added some as well to this because it still is quite flimsy. And I've also coloured it then with my dauber that's got some excess ink on there. So it kind of blends it in a bit better. So that's as far as we've got so far. So what I'd like to do now is start decorating them. I'm going to work on these two envelopes first because they've got similar flaps, should we call them, and I want to close them in a similar way. And I'm going to use this leftover piece of snippet roll, and what I am going to do is cut it in half because I need two pieces. It's not going to be exact, and I might actually have to use my scissors, but I'm just going to get the bulk of it done. It seems to be okay, actually. I thought I might have an issue cutting it with cutting the fabric, but it seems to be all right. So what I want to do is create a closure first that goes around this, just like that. Not too tightly because you're going to be stuffing the pockets full of goodies. And that's basically how I want it to look. So I'm going to glue that, and I will sacrifice a little bit of that to make sure that there's plenty of band to secure it. We don't want it falling off. That's great. So we'll snip off the edge. And I know I haven't got any stitch in there, but I'm not going to worry about it. You can stitch along there if you want to. And I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. I just flip that round, so that looks quite nice like that. So that's the first part of these envelopes. And then what I want to do on the back, particularly for this one because it's quite flimsy, I want to make some tags, and I'm going to use, oh, this is stiff, this is going rusty. Oh, it's probably not the best idea. It's very hard to get pins that don't rust. I've got some of my tag and journaling card shapes here that I've got measurements on. I was thinking of using some of the larger ones. That's quite a good shape. Oops. And I could use that one so it sticks out at the top. But what I could also do is just have small amount sticking at the top and everything. So I think I'll use this size for this one, which is 9.5 centimeters across by 20 centimeters down, or 3 3/4 across by 7 7/8. And on this bigger one, 9 centimeters across by 22 centimeters down, so 3.5 inches by 8 11/16. Okay, and I'm going to use my trusty masterboard. So you'll find tutorials on masterboards and snippet rolls, I think on every crafter's YouTube channel, but I've certainly got quite a few on mine. And the great thing about these is it's so easy then to just create a tag, and you've got a very interesting and unique background to work from, and I love that. So nobody will have a tag that looks like this because it's unique. So we've got a journaling card and a tag. And for the shape of the journaling card, I'm going to round the bottom. Actually, they do really need to be backed. So I think I'll quickly back them. Okay. And so I was going to use a scallop punch then. On the top of that. And so when I pop this in here, it will make it feel a lot more secure. And then that will go like that. And I'll have that popping out of the top. So that's the first part of decorating these envelopes. So on the front, because of the closure that I've decided to use, I don't want anything that's going to catch on the front. So it'll have to be very simple collaging on the top part, and if that's necessary at all, but we can put certainly some embellishments on the closure. So I think that's what I'll work on first. Just going to add some really simple tickets on these. So if I move that to that side, so keeping the embellishments really simple. And just ink a little bit. Pop that one over that side. And then I'm going to use these faux seals, which I purchased on Amazon. And I'm just going to pop that there. And this one I'm going to pop here. Okay, so that's those two there. And I'm also going to do some embellishments down the bottom here. And I've got some pre-made clusters. So I was going to use that one there. And I was going to use that one there. And I was going to pop that on and that on there. So use what you've got in terms of fussy cuts. I don't need to ink that. I don't need my glue gun. And what I'd like to do is turn these into pockets. So I think I will put that up a little bit further. And then when I stitch, I'll stitch the bottom, so then it will give some, it'll be easier then. And I can have like a little pocket there as well. And we'll see when I stitch that whether I need to glue it or not. So that's the sort of thing I was thinking of for these two envelopes. And I need to decorate these as well. But for now, all I'm going to do is ink and stitch. And those two envelopes then are finished. This one is going to be super quick. So I'm going to use a digital image which is in a shape of a Polaroid, and I'll put a link to this. I think it's Sam Poole Designs, but I'm not 100% sure, but I will have a look in my stash. And I'm going to glue just two sides so that it'll be easier for me to pop things in and out. So I'm just going to pop it there like that, so I can use that like a pocket. These are great for pockets, and I love the delicacy of it. So that will be a pocket like that. I would normally fold a bit of the edge, but it kind of spoils the whole vibe of the Polaroid, so I'm not going to do that on this one. And then I'm going to decorate here. But before I do that, I'm going to use one of these again. And what I'm going to do is glue, or stick, I should say, stick a little bit of scrap on the top so that it doesn't stick all the way down. So I don't think it really matters which way it is. So I don't really want that much paper either. So I just and then what I want to do is pop that on the envelope, so that then becomes a little closure. So if you haven't got any of these little faux seals, and I think they're really handy, you can get them on Amazon. I'll just put a note, fold seal link. I'll put a link in my description box, but you could easily use a button or a faux button or anything like that, just so that you've got just something missing at the top so that it can slot in. Okay, so that's there. And what I want to do then is just do a very simple collage. So I was thinking of using some music paper, and I've got this little label, like a sticky label. And I want to keep it quite soft on this one, which is a bit of an effort for me, but we'll give it a go. I'm not quite sure where I want to put that, but let's just see. I could actually put it as a tab. That'd be quite funny. Anyway, let's give it a go here for now. And I've got this little piece that's loose as well. Pop that underneath there. And I got that, which is quite large. And I did think about putting some of that underneath. But I don't think it needs it. It's a bit too dark. I could use that as something else, and I did want to use some of this as well, just because I like the shade of it. Oh, I like that. Okay, so I'll just take that off for a second, and then I'm going to stick it from the top down, because I find that's the easiest way to glue things together. Now, what did I have there? I've forgotten. I definitely had something there, didn't I? Oh, was it this? Oh no, that's glued there. So what did I have there? Completely forgotten what was there. It's gone. Whatever it was, I've completely forgotten what it was. Or maybe there wasn't anything there. I don't know. Anyway, put my kind of need some washi or something there, I think, or I don't know, something. And I think what I'll do is I will pop that on the back and I will make another pocket. So I want it to go like that. So pop that there. And then I can put things in the back there as well. There you go. So that is another one that will need stitching. I'm hoping to show you that you don't really need that much embellishments to change what you've got in front of you and enjoy the process, because sometimes I think if you put too much effort into something, then it just becomes unwieldy. So hopefully this video will help with that. So I'm just going to put some simple bits of scraps on this. I'm going to cover this up because it's a bit bold, and we don't need so much bold. And I'm going to use a little bit of fabric on here just to give the hint of some green and blue. And I want to use this pretty doily And I also want to use this close tag. And what I wanted was the close tag to sort of come down to hold the envelope in place. So again, I'm just going to use some glue stick and I will stitch it in place so that it'll be more secure. Just move that a bit, just move it up there. I think I'll leave that for a second. Then on the back I was thinking of using some of this lovely collage page, and I'm just going to rip it. I'm just going to see if I can use any of that. It's a shame that it's upside down, but what I could do is cut it and then flip it. So ripping it there just helps it blend in to the background a little bit better than a straight line. And I just need to glue this down loosely. You could of course use a doily here, a paper doily, instead of fabric if you haven't got one. I think that's quite pretty. And that's another one ready to stitch around. So I'm going to use some scraps on this one. And the first thing I'm going to do is use this piece. So this is another bit of that collage page. So these collage pages are just great for decorating. And I'm going to fold this over because it'll give it a little bit of strength. Got a bit of glue there, made a bit of a mess. I really like that against the vellum. I think that looks really nice. And you can still see it there. And then what I wanted to do was cover this side. And again, I think I'll keep this in place to give it a little bit more strength. At this stage, I really do wish I had labelled my signatures in the position I was going to use them. For example, this is the first one that I've started writing in, and I've called it signature number 2. So the envelope's going to be called number 2, but it's the first one I've started writing in. So yeah, I'm going to get totally confused. I mean, it's just a given, absolute given. But I have actually finished this now. So we'll have a play of filling this out at some point in the not too distant future. So I've decided where I want each of my envelopes to go. So this is signature number 2. And so I want this envelope to be matching signature number 2. And I've basically chosen envelopes that tend to go with the next signature in line. So this is going to be signature number 4, even though it's got number 1 on the front. I know, that's the crazy world of my life. But anyway, let's go back to this now. So what did I say this was? So this is signature number 2, and I've just punched out some card and stamped a number on it. And let's put this, where should we put it? Let's put it there. So that is envelope number 2. Okay, we can keep that out now. And this is going to be the next envelope, and it's number 4. And we'll pop that there for now. That's number 4. This is signature number 5. And I was going to do this envelope next. Let's put it that way. Okay. This is signature number 3. So this is going to be envelope number 3. So I may as well, I still think I'll put it that way. And then this is the last one, and this should be envelope, signature number 1. So this will be envelope number 1. I hope you've kept up with that. I know it doesn't make sense. Don't worry. Often lots of things I do don't make sense, but I do get there in the end. And I was thinking that once I have taken everything out of these envelopes and they're in a journal, a fully completed journal, they'll also be useful for holding hidden journaling. So it's another idea for hidden journaling as well. So let's stuff these babies. So let's have a look now. So I've got number 4, number 1. So I can get rid of these ugly looking envelopes. And I can put my goodies in here. And this makes me very happy. Okay, so these are all number 1, and they're all going to go in here. I obviously need to make a lot more of these, but this is where I'm at with my personal journaling for now, which is far better than what I usually, or the position is far better than it usually is. For sure. And here's number 5. Now, it probably would have been sensible to check the size of my embellishments before making the envelope, but you know, of course you would do things like that and you'd think of that straight away. I, on the other hand, just, you know, do as I go along. That's envelope number 5. There we go. Just about fitted in. And now they can all go in here, if they'll fit in there. I didn't realise I had so much. But actually I don't have to go in there, I can keep them separate. I can just pop in some of the envelopes that are a little less stuffed. And there we go. That's my storage solution for my personal journals. So I really enjoyed making these, and there is a bit of a balance between how big you make them and how practical they are for storing tons of ephemera, because I wanted them to be dual use. I wanted to keep ephemera in there and then use them in my journal when everything's put together. So there's some restrictions, but still I've really enjoyed making these, and I think they'll make great additions to my journal when I put everything together. And I hope that you will get something from this video, even if it is just to have a little bit of fun and play around with collage and your scraps. In my next video, I'm going to be making clusters, and I really do need to get on with that because I've started my second signature, and as it goes, it's very plain at the moment. Here it is. And yeah, all I'm doing at the minute is writing in it. So I definitely need to start decorating this, or at least save some space to make sure that I've got clusters and tabs and things in there that will fit. So that's going to be my next video. But I really do hope that you've enjoyed this one, and I do apologise that I didn't get this out ready for the weekend. My husband's been quite poorly, nothing serious, but it was a nasty bug that sent him to bed for a couple of days, and he needed a bit of TLC, shall we say. So yeah, I was quite busy on the weekend with that, but hopefully I will get another video up by the weekend for making the clusters. So until then, I will see you soon. Bye bye for now.
In the depths of silence, where echoes remain, you were the sunrise, and I was the rain. A collision of souls, opposing in flight. I was the darkness, you yearned for the light. Now you're gone, and I'm losing my mind, losing my mind, I'm losing my mind. Now you're gone. Why did you cut me up, bring me out, and leave me high and dry? You were the laughter that kept me alive. You were hello when I was goodbye. An ember that flickered then faded away. You were the summer, I was that same old shit in me.